All right, welcome to Fun with Rent the Chicken. I'm Homestead Jen, co-founder of Rent the Chicken. Tonight, we have a special guest, the co-founder and CEO of Grubbly Farms. Give a big welcome to Sean, the CEO and co-founder of Grubbly Farms. How are you this evening?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you so much for having me today.
You are welcome. You're welcome. And I want to say, well, first, hold on 1 second. It says swipe left to reveal the comments. Oh, yay. Hey, we have your fan club here. We've got Haley over there saying, hey, Sean. I had to swipe to see the comments. So I warned you that sometimes the technology gets the best of me. And for those of you who are used to signing in, you'll see that I am missing Homestead Phil, who usually sits on this side of me. So he is missed, but Sean and I, we have it all under control, right? We got this.
Absolutely.
Everybody who received a Rent the Chicken rental in 2021 in the United States received a free bag of Grubbly Farms Grubblies. And so thank you, Sean, for making that happen, and all of your team that made that all come together for us. Our Canadian renters were super sad that they did not get to participate, but we have high hopes for the years to come that Grubblies will break their way into the Canada border, and the chickens in Canada will also get to one day enjoy and snack on Grubblies.
It's definitely something we're looking into, and hopefully that will, as you said, will be in the near future.
Super. So I want to know what in the world is new and going on with you and Grubblies, Grubbly Farms.
Yeah, so Grubbly Farms has seen a pretty incredible year. And, as far as kind of where we started and where we are, we started with the initial Grubblies product line, which was the whole dried grubs being the snack, and eventually came out with a couple different feed lines. Earlier this year, we launched our starter grower feed line, which is meant for younger birds up to about 20 weeks of age. And then the most recent product we launched was actually a layered crumble. And that largely came from feedback from our customers, in the sense that it is the same formulation for our layer pellets, however, obviously in a different form. And that really just comes down to a lot of chickens, oddly, are picky eaters. And it's always listening to customer feedback so that we can provide the highest quality products to our customers. But aside from that, we're actually working on some very exciting things that will be announced in the very near future. I know, unfortunately, I can't talk too much about it, but I would say definitely stay in tuned because very exciting news will actually be coming later this month.
Well, all of that is fantastic. So feed is very new this year, right?
Correct.
2021. Yeah, that's amazing. And you guys are also partnered with Coop Dreams, who we're partnered with as well. And you guys donate and give and everything for Coop Dreams and Coops for Troops also. And so I know that Brad over at Coop Dreams is so grateful to partner with you guys, and he shakes that bag and his chickens come running. That's what happens with our renters and their chickens as well. So that's super key for our Rent the Chicken renters, is building that rapport with their hens. Because some people think that if you don't raise a chick from a baby, like there's not that connection, but that is not the case at all. Not with our rental chickens. I don't know where everyone else is getting their adult hens, but our rental hens they love those Grubblies, and they come a running to that bag shaking, no doubt about it, for sure. Yeah.
Yep. That was actually something when we first got into this, didn't really know that using the bag is kind of the attractant, that chickens will become so recognized to that sound. And it really is awesome to see some of the photos and videos that customers send in to us, that they just give the bag a shake and their entire flock comes like pouring around the house, running over to them. Yeah.
Yeah, they like take a little flight to get to the bag, right?
Exactly.
So that's amazing. Our chickens love the Grubblies, and I know the rental chickens love the Grubblies. And so what happens this time of year for us is we bring some rental hens home, and they're here for the winter. So we say that we're wintering hens for our re-rents. Like, that's the verbiage that we use, because we have renters who are re-renting. So they get the same hens back in the spring. And so we have, we've got these little rental coops all lined up with everyone's chickens for some quarantine time. And we go to shake the bag for like this one section of chickens. And like all the chickens are at the side of the coop of all of the little rental coops. Like, where's my Grubblies? Where's my Grubblies? And where's my Grubblies? So they really, really love those Grubblies for sure.
That's awesome to hear. And always great to see the feedback from the birds themselves.
Right. You can't get a better review than a chicken that is up against the wire trying to get your attention to get some Grubblies. That is exactly. 5-star review if I ever heard it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So tell me, do you have anything that you would like to ask me?
Yes. So, I'm actually curious how business has been. I know, obviously COVID has been a difficult time for a lot of people, but I know that with that, a lot of people have stayed at home and gotten to some new hobbies, being the backyard chicken market. So I'm kind of curious how you've seen trends in the chicken market pan out over the past 18 months or so.
Yeah, that's a great question. So like you guys, you probably grew leaps and bounds in that last 18 months, because I really think the backyard chicken market exploded. We started Rent the Chicken in 2013 with our first full rental season in 2014. So we've grown every year. We've added affiliate partners all over the United States and Canada, and they use our name. They build their coops or buy coops from us. They provide the rental hens. They market locally. And as we continue to grow and grow, we added Hatch the Chicken in 2015, which is our 5-week rental for hatching baby chicks. With all of that, we see continued growth. And I'll be honest, we were at a home and garden show in Pittsburgh. Homestead Phil and I were in March of 2020. And they were like, we're not shutting down. It's fine. We're not shutting down. It's okay. We're not shutting down. And then on that Friday, schools were closing, businesses were closing. The governor was like, we're going to shut everything down. And finally, the home and garden show was like, okay, we're going to have to close this thing down. But it's a 10-day show. We were already there 7 days, right? So we were there a lengthy amount of time. And everyone went home. We had to go back the next day to collect all of our stuff. And it was on the way to that home and garden show that I said to Homestead Phil, we might have to close our business. I mean, so many things were going through my mind that there's people, my thought was people that had extra cash that were not working all of a sudden were going to use their extra cash to live. And it was like, God was like, challenge accepted, because the very opposite of that is what happened. People were at home and they were looking for something to do. Their children were at home and they were all of a sudden homeschooling their children, and they didn't know what that looked like, but they knew they needed something for their kids to do. Yep. People were not traveling. So they had vacation money that they planned on spending on vacation, that they were staying at home for staycations and had their money for that. And plus, of course, stimulus money was coming through. Backyard chickens took off, and what's great for us is we've been around. People have been hearing about Rent the Chicken for years. And then poof, we have a reason. We're not going anywhere. We're not traveling. We don't have that as an excuse. And we have some extra pocket money to get some chickens. But what was really on our side, in addition to all of that, what was on our side even more was that there was so much unknown, and unknown in regards to, we don't know when we're going back to work. We don't, like, we had a lot of people from New York City that went to upstate New York or Connecticut, and those people plan to go back to New York City. So there was no way that a huge part of our demographic was going to get chickens, our responsible demographic would get chickens on their own and get a coop, only to know the inevitable is that they have to go back to the city.
Yeah.
Right. So having said all of that, like we grew like crazy. And then in 2020, we grew like crazy. I'm sorry, 2021, we grew like crazy too. Because in addition to that first shift of everyone's at home, no one's going anywhere, no one's going on vacation, the second shift to that was people had these like life-changing decisions. People were making big decisions to change whatever they were doing. And many people decided that they didn't want to live in the city. So they moved to the suburban area or even moved to the country. So some of those transplants from New York City to Connecticut or upstate New York, they said, listen, we can telecommute. We did it for a year. We're not going back to the city. We really like the space that we have. If you can believe this, those people still didn't know how to raise chickens. Just because you moved to the country doesn't mean you know how to do it, right?
Yeah, we actually ran into some very similar things, with a lot of these new chicken owners getting into the hobby over the past 2 years or so. Some of them actually reached out to us when the chickens started to go through molting.
Yeah, because they just don't know.
Exactly. And they were freaking out saying, my chickens are losing all their feathers. What's happening? So like you said, there is still that educational piece to it, but it really has been incredible to see where the industry has grown over the past 2 years or so.
For sure. And it was already growing. Like we've seen constant growth from the time we started our business, and then it just exploded, and we had people who were like, can you keep my chickens for the winter? We don't know what next year has for us. Absolutely. We'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to ask me?
Yeah. So one thing, as I mentioned before, we always love listening to customers and just people within the industry. And I'd be curious to hear both your input, but also anyone listening. What else can we offer? We always want to keep up with what the customers are looking for. And is there any specific product that you'd be looking for or that would pique your interest that we could launch at some point in the future?
For sure. That is a great question. So I'm going to field that back to anyone who's watching. Put that in the comments, whether it's while you're watching live or if anyone's watching this on the replay. You know my answer. I know you know my answer. Grubblies in Canada. We need Grubblies. So we talked about that last year whenever we partnered, and I know you guys are working hard and there's some logistics on that. But if you can figure out the chickens are picky and they need a choice between crumble and pellets, you can figure out how to get Grubblies in Canada.
It's in the works, and I will say more and more people have reached out, so that's definitely going to be the first international expansion that we'll be breaking into. So,
fantastic!
Exciting to hear that people up in Canada want the Grubblies.
Absolutely, for sure. All right, so I'm going to wind up quick. Don't let me forget to talk about the coupon, but first I have to know, you've got 6 eggs. What you making?
All right. So if I had 6 eggs, I guess if I had one option, it would be potentially to actually give those to my mom, because she is an absolute incredible baker and makes incredible cakes. But if I had to take those 6 eggs, I'm actually a huge fan of deviled eggs. And I don't make them too often, but I like making them in a bunch of different varieties. One of my favorites is Dijon mustard with some dill on top, but there's also different variations of like mixing in blue cheese and buffalo sauce, or even like a little dab of maple syrup and then some bacon on top can be interesting. So I kind of like to experiment every now and then, usually around the holidays, like Thanksgiving or Christmas is when I'll make some, but I would probably be going with the deviled eggs. For sure.
So have you ever heard of bacon and cheddar deviled eggs?
I have not, but I will definitely be looking that up.
Right? Someone else recommended that to me. I think it was Homestead Raylene in Tennessee. She's like, you have to make bacon and cheddar. Well, listen, I was going to my family's for Thanksgiving. I wasn't going to do the first time of making bacon and cheddar deviled eggs going somewhere else. I want to make them at home first to make sure
Of course,
they're
yeah.
decent, you know? Oh, someone said, oh, is your mom Joanne?
Yes, she is.
Joanne's epic paprika deviled eggs.
Those were the deviled eggs that I think got me hooked. She would make those all throughout my childhood, and I've been experimenting with them here and there on my off time.
Your off time, which there's not much of, I'm sure. In your spare time, Sean, you like to make deviled eggs.
Yes, there you go.
That's fantastic. All right, so as a present to all of our viewers and our fans of Rent the Chicken, and whoever gets this into their hands, you have graciously said that you would provide a mega discount code, very limited time offer. So if someone's watching this now, make your purchase sooner than later, or the coupon code might not work. So give it to us, Sean.
Yes, the coupon code is FUNCHICKEN25, and that is FUNCHICKEN25, no spaces, and the number. So FUNCHICKEN25, and that'll give you 25% off.
That's a screaming deal. So thank you for that. And they can just go to grubblyfarms.com, correct?
Correct. Yes, thank you.
All right. Yeah, super. Well, thanks so much for joining. I almost said us because I'm used to two of us. Thanks. Well, joining all of us here, part of Rent the Chicken, and all the fans that are watching. We really appreciate it. And anyone who's watching, I'm Homestead Jen, co-founder of Rent the Chicken. We have Sean, co-founder, CEO of Grubbly Farms with us, grubblyfarms.com. That coupon code again is FUNCHICKEN25. And you can find our information at rentthechicken.com. Thanks a bunch, Sean. Signing off.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking the time.